Okay, Facebook, it's March 19th. I'm getting over a virus, so if I cough a little bit during this video, please forgive me. There's a couple things that are here in the shop, though, this week that I would like to talk about. I have this little Dell netbook over here that just needs to have the preliminary setup done on it, which I'm doing now. That's not a big deal. But there's something else in here that doesn't come in here too often that I would like to try and talk about a little bit. And that's one of my custom built computers. Some of you may be aware that I do custom build PC-based computers. Now, first question is, why would you want a custom build versus a machine from, say, Dell or Hewlett-Packard? The reason for that is, on a higher end type of machine, I can build a custom built computer with higher quality parts that you can get from a mass produced manufacturer like Dell or Hewlett Packard for for a lower quality price. On your lower end computer application, say you're just buying a basic workstation for internet surfing or for running your business, or you're buying a whole bunch of workstations, say something similar to what the town of Woodbury is going to be doing very shortly. If any of you pay attention to the bid solicitations and what's going on in town, on those types of applications, my pricing can't typically beat Dell or Hewlett Packard because they can mass produce a lower end, cheaper machine much better than they can produce a higher end machine. Now, how these machines get built is I will be approached by a customer and I'll be told that they are requesting a custom build, and what they will give me usually is a list of specifications that they're looking for. I will then take this list and I will turn it into a much more comprehensive computer system specification sheet that lists every part that I'm going to use in the build, the individual price, and the final total for the build, including the labor for the assembly and testing of the computer. Most of my custom builds run somewhere around the $1,500 to $2,000 range out the door. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is the quality of parts. There are custom builders out there that use lower end parts when they do their builds. I don't compromise my builds with low end parts. Everything you see in this tower is high end. We have an Asus motherboard here. Asus is one of the top motherboard manufacturers in the world. We have, I believe it's an I believe it's an ATI video card. I'm not exactly sure without pulling it out, which I'm not going to do right now. Pretty sure it's ATI. Pretty sure that it's ATI video card. Also, one very common overlooked area on these custom builds is the power supply. The power supply is very critical as it takes the AC power coming in from the wall and converts it down with the parts that are in this box into the DC voltages that the computer needs to run. I only use PC power and cooling power supplies. They are the foremost PC power supply that you can buy on the market today. And they have 7-year warranties on them from the factory. No computer part manufacturer does that. Nobody. These power supplies, they're built like tanks. They will literally go through hell and back and keep the computer running. And you need the high-end power supplies in order to keep these high-end video cards going. You start running one large video card like what's in here with the separate power connector, or you run 2 or even 3 video cards connected together so that you can share their processor and video memory resources, and you're going to overtax most of your cheaper power supplies. Not this one. Another issue that I'd like to talk about that relates to custom builds is not every IT company will do them. There are a few IT companies out there that will do the bash and smash game when it comes to custom builds. And most of the reasons I hear for bashing custom build computers is, well, if it breaks, you get one part manufacturer blaming one of the other part manufacturers for the problem. This does happen, and the reason it happens is because the system builder didn't take the time to research the system specifications, figure out what parts would work with the other parts in the system, and didn't use top quality parts during his build. Lower end manufacturers that don't want to warranty their parts for whatever reason when they break, this is the excuse that they will use to get out of warrantying a part. They'll say, oh, well, that memory is not the memory we specified, so it's incompatible and it's no good and it fried your motherboard. Or the power supply is not compatible and it fried your motherboard. That's, like I said, that's an excuse so that the manufacturer who's blaming the problem on other manufacturers can get out of servicing a part under warranty. Servicing a part under warranty costs manufacturers quite a bit of money. And if the manufacturer does not care about quality, they will be getting a lot of warranty service callbacks. And they will be looking to avoid dealing with as many of these warranty service callbacks as they can. Thus, they're going to try anything they can to get out of warrantying a part. Not Asus. Asus has never done that to me. In fact, none of the motherboard manufacturers that I use. And if you don't know what the motherboard is, it's this huge board right here that everything else in the computer is connected to. I've used Asus, Tyan, and Intel. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Intel. They make mainly the processor chips, which is this part right here that's underneath this heatsink. It's very little known that they also produce high-end motherboards. Also, Asus and Tyan are another two of the best motherboard manufacturers in the world. Tyan stays strictly in the server world of motherboard, which is a very high-end type of motherboard. Asus makes high-end motherboards for every single application you can think of, from building servers to building gaming computers to building computers that handle a lot of photography work, which is why this one was built. I have never had Asus or Tyan play the part compatibility blame game in the 8 years the company's been in business. Over the 8 years the company's been in business, I've had 17 computers, and I'm probably missing one, that I've custom built that are still out there. Out of 17 computers, 2 of the computers have had issues. The first computer that had an issue was due to an undocumented parts incompatibility that no one knew about. It took a while to discover the problem, because it started as an intermittent problem, and once I discovered the problem, it didn't take long at all for me to get the problem resolved between the motherboard manufacturer and the memory manufacturer. During this whole process, I want to stress again that nobody played the blame game. Asus and Crucial, which is the memory manufacturer, were both top-notch companies, and they handled the situation in a very professional manner. The second machine that had a problem was because of a known motherboard defect, and it was another Asus motherboard, and Asus took care of this very quickly and very professionally. Even if it was a case of being out of warranty, they still would have taken care of it because it was a known defect. I will see everyone next week. Talk to you later.